full screen, and then we're ready to go.
Great. Well, welcome everybody. I'm interviewing Matthew Anello, and today you're going to learn about how to be a great client. Nobody ever talks about how to be a great client. We're going to share with you how Matthew gets a lot done, how he's very productive, and we're going to share with you about his crowdsourced, crowdfunded new book, which will help you be a great client, be a great coach, be a great provider, be whatever you're doing in a greater expression. I'm Seth Braun. I'm the author of 4 books, 14 ebooks, the creator of Indestructible Success, the self-help business for people who want an authentic expression of self-help, who don't want to learn from someone who claims to be perfect, because I'm not perfect. And this is what I love about Matthew's work, is he's redefining the genre of self-help so that it's self-directed rather than looking for answers externally. So, welcome.
It's great to be here.
Thank you for taking some time to speak with me and for my clients and for my community.
It's a real pleasure for me. I love to talk about self-empowerment, self-help, and a new take on that entire world.
Great. So as you know, I'm on tour right now. I'm in Chicago. I'm speaking at conferences. I spoke at Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. I'm doing my signature seminar this weekend. And this is my world. I'm immersed in this world, and I work with a lot of people. And one of the themes that we see, and I think anybody who works with clients, and I'm sure you've seen this, and anyone who is a nutritionist or acupuncturist or a chiropractor or an energy worker or a coach or a helper of any kind, when they get the clients who do the work, they get results. And when they have clients who don't do the work, they don't get results. And it's just a fascinating thing. And I think we all want to get results. So I've been thinking about it, and for my viewers, Matthew does the work. Every time we have a session, he shows up and he's like, I'm done with everything we talked about. And one of the things you said when we started working together, you said you wanted 100% accountability and 0 guilt, I think is the word you used.
Yeah. Shame or guilt. Yeah, shame
or guilt,
like
right?
That, yeah.
So that I'm holding you 100% accountable, but if you don't do something, that there's no shame or guilt attached to it.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, that's what happened. Now what do we want to do about it?
Mm.
That has rarely happened. So how does a person be a great client? What are some of the things that you do to stay in action and to execute?
Yeah, it's a great. I think it's a really great question for me to reflect myself, but then also look out on the world of people that I'm supporting and think about this. And I think the book that I'm writing is going to get to some of this, a lot of this actually. And there's kind of 2 ways that I can approach this. One is that if I look back at some of the training that I've gotten lots of different kinds of training, and it got drummed into me pretty early on in the path, the importance of integrity, personal integrity. So. I do have a background relationship with integrity, which is like, without integrity, things don't really function well in life. If my word is not actually carrying weight with it, like if I say something, it's going to actually happen. I have I put a high value on my word and on what I say goes. So I think that's kind of in the background. And then
Right.
There are these areas that I kind of I think that are necessary for us to have a high performance in life, and I talk about this in the book. There are these 4 areas. Is your body functioning well? Do you have your attention on your health and your body? Is it actually energized? Is it actually rested? Is it actually flexible? Is it strong? These kind of things. Looking at our emotional range and depth. Are we expressing the emotions that are there for us in a given day, week, month? The range of them and the depth of them. Are we paying attention to the clarity, the level of clarity that we have in our thoughts? Do we have warning signs for when we're off track, and do we address that when that's happening? And am I being pulled towards a higher purpose? Am I reactive to, am I sensitive to my soul calling? So I think that's part of what it is that I have my attention on those 4 things on a regular basis, so that when I show up in a conversation where it's like, okay, well, what's next and what are we up to? What are we doing? I'm fueled, I'm energized, I'm energy rich, I'm like ready to go. And I think that's a lot of why it all happens, is because I've done all that other work. It's not like it's happening in that moment, it's like that work that's gotten done beforehand allows for higher performance.
So let me see if I'm getting what you're saying to me and to our viewers.
Yeah.
What you are saying is that because you are energy rich, because you have energy, based on practices,
Yeah.
containers for 4 areas of your life,
Yeah.
that it's not difficult for you to be in action because you're energized, you're clear, and it doesn't take, I'm hearing it not like a special technique, it doesn't take some stimulus or some tool, you just take action because you're energized, you're inspired.
Yeah, and I think it's probably different, like what other people would do across those 4 areas would be very different than the way it looks, the way I do it. I think it's just that it is getting done, and there's that background of relatedness to integrity and accountability. I think those 2 things together seem to be working well for me.
So I want to ask you specifically about how your project can help people work in those 4 areas in a way that's right for them.
Yeah.
Because this is the whole thing, that we're not experts telling you you should do these things and you're going to get the results that I got.
Yes.
But you work within these areas to find what works for you, you can have the same result. So let's get to that in a second. But before we do, I want to know personally. And so I think if I want to know this, I think the people watching will want to know this. Where does the motivation to be in integrity come from?
Yeah, I think it's a good question.
And I'll say one other clarifying piece on this.
Yeah.
It's connected to a question that I have across the board in my life that comes from my childhood, watching my father die from a chronic illness. And I watched him not take care of himself.
Yeah.
And be very self-destructive, even though he knew what to do.
Yeah.
He was smart. He read the books. He knew what health was. He knew how to produce health. But his actions were not in alignment. So my whole life, I've been curious, and I still am, how do we want what's good for us?
Yeah.
So within that, the same question could be said, so how do we want to be in integrity?
Yes.
Like, where does that desire come from to have that be important?
Yeah. It's a really big it's a really big question, Seth, but I like the big ones.
Yeah.
So I would say that just broadly speaking, I think that, our tendency is to go towards out of integrity. I think that that's just the human nature. It is something to go against that. You have to kind of go a bit against the stream to be in integrity. And I think it's an ongoing, I see it a little bit, there's a little bit of a game aspect for me. It's a little bit like I enjoy it. It's fun for me. I make it fun in a way. I think what you said earlier in the interview about, 100% accountability and 0% shame and blame. I think that's a big part of inspiring people to having people understand why it's great to have integrity and why it's great to fulfill on what you want to create. I think if you take out blame and shame, it makes it a lot more fun, and you can laugh at yourself and when you do go off track. I think that's one piece. The second piece I would say is I think what happened for me about 10 years ago is I got really clear about the game that I'm playing is not just for me. It's actually bigger than this. It's not, being here on the planet is not just about me exploring myself. It's about actually contributing to other people. When I got that at a cellular level and at a soul level at the same time, then integrity became important to me. Before that, it wasn't really that important to me. And I think that's part of the message that I have to say about it.
All right. So we're going to wrap up with talking about your project. Let's just recap what I've got so far.
Yeah.
Because this is good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. We're talking about being a great client. Nobody talks about how to be a great client.
Yeah.
And because being a great client is essential to success in being a great provider of our services.
Yeah.
And you've shared that you have 4 areas of your life that you manage so you're energy rich so that you can take action in the context of integrity. Yeah. And having integrity comes from playing a game and making it fun and not taking it too seriously.
Yeah.
Of 100% accountability with 0 guilt, shame, or blame.
Yeah.
And also having a higher purpose, like being inspired by something greater to want to be in integrity. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think those are great takeaways for everybody watching this. And to give people the next steps for them to have energy-rich environment,
Yes.
energy-rich body, energy-rich life, how can they connect with your project?
Yeah.
What are you doing that people can be aware of?
Yeah, this is my passion. This is it at the moment. This is what this project is really about. It's really about, I'm interested in empowering people around this. There's a body of work that I've reviewed, and there's things that I know that work. And the way that this works, this is a book, right? I'm writing a book, so that's, everyone understands what that is. But what I'm doing is I'm inviting people in. I want actually for people to be interacting with and engaging with the material that's already been written. So what's going to happen is there's an Indiegogo campaign that's where there's funding going on, and part of the funding is that if you fund at a certain level, there's a $75 level, where if you fund at that level, you get invited, you get a ticket to one of the teleconference calls that are going to be happening at the beginning of the year. And people are going to be on a phone call with me for about an hour and a half. We're going to go through hour and a half to 2 hours. We're going to go through all the material, the outline material. They're going to get a sense for what they need to be focused on in those 4 areas I was talking about. And they're going to actually put that stuff into action over the course of a week. There's going to be handouts. There's going to be digital support in between. And at the end of that week, we're going to get back together. And they're going to have had some breakthroughs. They're going to have had some results. Their satisfaction level is going to have increased. They're going to have had some challenges maybe as well, but there'll be things to celebrate. And we're going to come together and kind of digest that information, share it together. And that experience will benefit them, but will also be fodder for additional information, for juice for the book, the final product of the book, which will be written following those calls. So that's how it's going to work. This is new. This is not, I don't know how this, I don't know that this is happening elsewhere. And I think it's really, there's a lot of energy around this for me. There's a lot of energy around this for the people that have already registered for these calls. And so that's basically how it's going to go.
Great. So this has been Seth Braun. I've been interviewing Matthew Anello about how to be a great client. And just to recap our conversation, there are 4 areas of your life that you nurture in contained ways so that you have an energy-rich experience, so that action's easy in the context of integrity and accountability.
Yeah.
And integrity and accountability comes from playing a game and also making it fun, but also having a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And if people want to connect with you so that they can be a better client and learn how to execute, and everybody watching, you need to be a better client. We all do. I do. We can all always be better clients.
Yes.
Check out Matthew's Indiegogo campaign. There will be a link in the description of this video.
Yeah.
You can go check it out. Fund it at any level that you want.
Yeah.
But what level will they get to participate and have that transformative experience?
Yeah, anything from $75 and above unlocks your ticket to one of those teleconference calls.
So you get a copy of the book, you get to participate, and you get to really be a co-creator in this book.
That's exactly it.
I love it. I think it's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this great content. I can't wait to share this with everybody. And if you're watching right now and you like this, you can also follow up with Matthew and connect with him. He does take private clients. And for everybody else, I look forward to seeing you at our next call or on our next live event. Thanks for watching.
Seth, thank you so much. Okay, stop recording.